Mohit Gang is with us. And, Mohit has put out a very detailed thread on social media, a blog on the nuances of these announcements that came through. But no, Mohit, just summarize it for us. In totality, I think, it's beneficial for investors, for retail investors, because it helps not only cut costs for them, but also, curbs a lot of unfair practices by, say, distributors who are perhaps, pushing a lot of NFOs for higher commissions, etc. So just tell us from an investor standpoint, what does this mean?
Right, Sonia. Thank you so much. Look, I think from an investor's standpoint, obviously, as expenses go down, their performances and returns of the schemes will improve, right? And from an investor's perspective, for a very long-term thing, it's a fairly beneficial point. However, for industry participants, I'm sure this is not so great a news. Look, I think there were many practices which were happening in the mutual fund industries, especially the two practices which the paper comes out very heavily on are the NFO selling practices. So if you see data which the paper puts out from April 21 till September 22, the NFO money collected was around 86,000 odd crores approximately, out of which 27% of the NFO money collected was switched from the same schemes or from the schemes of the same mutual fund, which meant that what the practice on the street was that people were switching the existing portfolios of their investors and moving them into NFOs for higher commissions, because NFOs could pay out higher commissions because of the lower AUM they start with, right? Because the entire TER structure was AUM based. Now, SEBI comes out very heavily on this, and they say, okay, if you switch from any scheme now, the commission applicable will be the lower of the two schemes. So this complete practice goes off. Other practices like brokerage and transaction costs being included in the scheme TR, this is again a very high hit on the AMC profitability, to be very honest. I think because some of the schemes just thrive on churning, some of the schemes just thrive on rotation of stocks. If you see arbitrage schemes or equity saving schemes for that matter, the volumes or the rotations of the trades are very, very high. Now, few of these schemes might go out of business totally if the transaction costs are included in the TER, right? And also schemes which thrive on very high churn might actually go out of the business. So there are few pockets which hurt distributors. There are few pockets which hurt the AMCs. And in all, I think the investor, the retail investor, will finally end up benefiting a lot in terms of the lower costs of participating into these in mutual fund industry per se.
Okay, I just had one follow-up here. So you said that AMC profitability will get hit quite a bit, but is this commission structure such that it will be difficult for new players to enter and thrive or survive?
Oh, totally. I think, look, what SEBI says in the paper is that the industry has grown manifold over last 10 years. It's come to an sizable AUM of 40 lakh crores or so. However, to my mind, honestly, I think industry compared to what the overall financial ecosystem is fairly small and nascent right now. The mutual fund industry is just about spinning out on its own. If you compare it with the fixed deposit size or the banking size or the insurance industry also, it's not that big an industry currently. However, for new participants, let's say if today I want to start a new mutual fund distribution business on my own, the commission structure is not very lucrative, Sonia, right? To earn around 1.5% commission on an annualized trail basis, it will take me at least 3 to 5 years of very hard work to get to something which will just give me a sustenance kind of an amount. And not many new starters would have that kind of a capital or would have that kind of a patience to get into a standalone mutual fund distribution business now. So
yeah,
obviously
got that. For distributors, I think the question was on AMCs. For AMCs, it actually incentivizes. Smaller AMCs are able to charge more. Larger AMCs, will be able to will charge lesser. But distributors, it's a different story.
Mohit, I want to wrap up, with your comment. I mean, you did say that it could hit distributors badly, but what about the profitability for AMCs? What kind of, impact do you see there? And I also wanted your thoughts, why are there so many regulatory changes happening in the mutual fund industry itself? I mean, in 2022 as well, there were almost 5-6 changes that happened. Now, suddenly this. Is it that there were so many malpractices happening? Is it so, is it not supportive for an investor that SEBI had to come in? What do you see as the main reason behind so many changes in the industry?
Look, so I'll take the second part first, Sonia. I think every industry goes through its phase of evolution, and so has the mutual fund industry evolved over last 20, 30 years. When the industry was small, obviously you need to incentivize the participants of the industry much higher to make the industry more favorable for them and to get newer investors into the fold of the industry. As industry grows in size and as volumes increase many folds, I think it is right on the part of SEBI to be more retail friendly, to more investor friendly, because obviously the with larger size you will have problems of mis-selling or malpractices here and there, right? It's not a uniform case across the industry, but yes, few practices like B30 commissions being abused a lot in terms of how the industry was availing of it, or NFO selling or switches and all those kind of things, and selling schemes with higher commissions. I think overall SEBI is trying and making it more investor friendly and making it more uniform also across categories, and for the AMCs to charge that expense ratio. Now, when the expense ratio comes at an asset level and not at a scheme level, it will mean that your aggregate equity AUM for a particular AMC will get charged at a particular price, right? So there is, and investors have full transparency what all costs are going into it, right? To answer your first part, Sonia, I think from an AMC's perspective, my sense is the cost remains similar. Whether the industry is able to gain more volume, more traction, attract more investors, I think that will lead them to higher profitability. The margin impact, and SEBI paper also clearly brings out the impact on the revenues of AMCs. I think it is shrinking by around 4 to 5%, if it is what the paper spells out, which is as per the computation of the paper, right? So it's not a very huge impact. I think the volumes can easily absorb it if the industry continues to gain momentum, scale, size, and if the industry participants perform. And I think
Got
to
it.
Manoj's point, the industry has become more benchmark hugging. If they can beat the benchmarks, charge that performance fee, charge that variable fee to the investors, then they will have immense amount of profitability. If they can actually do justice to the performance, then I think there is a lot of money to be made for all the participants, not just AMCs in the industry.
All right, Mohit, thanks very much for joining us.